So guys, the flash forward scenes are back and my god are they quite intriguing. We got a couple reveals there and inmate 4587 truly embraces his inmate number, shall we say, because shit gets serious in Slabside. Let's talk about all of this. What is up, Vigilantes? Welcome to my Arrow Season 7 Episode 4 review and breakdown. Now, this was a pretty solid episode. Of course, the flash forward scenes are a very solid welcome back to the show, because obviously I think we went without them last week, and we had them the week before that, if I remember correctly. But either way, we got quite a few reveals, and I'll get to that at some point in this review. But what I loved about this episode is how we really creeped into Oliver's psyche, if you will. We didn't just do that with Oliver. Obviously, Felicity is going down quite a dark path. I mean, last episode was called Crossing Lines. She was definitely doing that with capturing Silencer, and this week she enlists Black Siren's help, and those two together were very, very interesting. But along with the return of the flash forward scenes, we got the return of the Copycat Green Arrow, which was really awesome. I think you could definitely tell that that was a woman under that Vigilante costume. I mean, she just looked like, you know, with Thea's little red mask. I think it was red. I mean, it wasn't exactly Thea's one, but what I'm trying to say is it looked just like a woman under there. So the whole Emiko Queen theory could very much so be correct. But before I go into all of this, guys, be sure to subscribe to this channel for more Arrow reviews and updates on the Arrowverse and everything like that, just like this. And go ahead and like this video if you do go on to enjoy it, as it really, really does help this video out. So Oliver's story in this episode was pretty rough. I mean, the Slabside story keeps going strong for him. Obviously, after the events of last episode and how he learned about level 2, and, you know, obviously he was seeking the demon, he realized that he had to do some pretty messed up stuff to actually get to level 2. And what we saw there was that, you know, guard scene where he attacked a load of guards at the end of last episode. So in this episode, I believe we see him in the hole. I think they call this the hole, where Oliver was getting tortured by freaking like audio waves and all manner of kind of different things throughout the episode, like drugs, which were pretty much like a truth serum, I'm pretty sure. As much as Oliver tried to resist that, it seemed that he was spilling some of the beans to this chief psychiatrist. Now, when I first like saw this before he was injected with any of that truth serum-y stuff, I was just like, why would Oliver tell the psychiatrist about, oh yeah, I'm gonna find a demon on level 2 to stop Diaz, or to find some information out about Diaz? It just didn't really make any sense, because if you're telling like a prison official or officer or whatever your plan, well then surely they're probably not going to move you down to level 2. I don't know, I just found that part of the story a bit weird. Obviously this part with the chief psychiatrist went a lot deeper than that, and he was trying to, in his words, reform him, which was a very, very interesting twist to the show, and how it seems like the identity of Oliver Queen has kind of somewhat gone down the drain for now, because, you know, at the end he was like, I am inmate 4587, and even the chief psychiatrist was like, what, so you're probably gonna hurt those people to find us out? It's just, I don't know, I didn't really get that. I would have got it if they injected him with the truth serum-y stuff beforehand, but it didn't really add up for me there. Now, Stephen Amell's acting in this was brilliant. Obviously what we know in terms of Oliver, or just Stephen Amell, when he acts out serious scenes, all of this was serious because he was reliving some trippy stuff through that injection, like the Queen's Gambit, all the way back to season 1, where his dad killed the bodyguard or whatever he was, and then himself so he could survive. And it even got to the point in the episode where the chief psychiatrist kept pushing him, and I thought for a second, when you saw Oliver and William on the raft, he was going to do exactly what his father had done, you know, saying like, you have to right my wrongs, because I like how they kind of brought out Oliver's inner fear, was that maybe William might take up kind of the mantle of what like Oliver did for his father to right his wrongs. Maybe William would do the same, even though William is kind of nothing like Oliver. They kind of made the point of that, even though they also made a point of, oh, what if he does become similar to Oliver one day? But I love how in that moment, when I feel like they expected for him to say something like what his father said to him back in season 1, he was just like, go live your life, William, you know, blah 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 blah. It wasn't like, you know, go right my wrongs, go do this, like Oliver's father had done. He was just like, go live, before before topping himself as well. This new form of electrical therapy through this machine was all about reforming Oliver, which is why, as I mentioned, at the end he was just like, my name is inmate 45A7, because consistently throughout the episode that chief psychiatrist was just like, what's your name? And he was just like, screw you, or like, my name is Oliver Queen. Now, from the preview of the next episode, and I'm not going to go too deep into that here, that's for the trailer breakdown video, which might be in the cards above by the time you're seeing this, but it looks like what this chief psychiatrist is trying to do, which they didn't fully get to in this episode, but they're beginning it for sure, is erase Oliver. And that's what the whole inmate 45A7 identity answer to asking for his name is about. So I'm looking forward to seeing how much further they go with this. Now, going to Felicity this episode, as we've learned all season long, she's got nothing left to lose, and she's all about finding Diaz. Like, if there's nothing else that matters in this world, this is the only thing that would matter to her. Now, I really liked Renee this episode, and this really ties into Felicity in terms of how obviously she wanted to torture the silencer because she's got nothing else left to lose, but Renee really wanted to point out that one of the reasons, or the reason he was discharged from the Navy, even despite it for saving lives and stuff, is that he tortured someone. And you can't really walk back from that line. And at what cost of your own humanity you gonna take this for? And that really coincides with what Black Siren was like this episode. And she was definitely one of the highlighted characters for me. And that's because despite Black Siren being quite an evil biatch sometimes throughout the seasons, this episode she really, even though she brought her sinister side to the table in terms of using her sonic cry and torturing the silencer, she did hold back Felicity from the brink, because Felicity was going to go down there with a rusty screwdriver, and you can imagine what kind of torture that would have done to Felicity. But just like Renee, Black Siren, even more so than Renee, really walked Felicity through what kind of person you'll become, even saying that she used to be just like Felicity. She essentially just saved Felicity from going too far into the dark, and that is quite a unique thing considering how, Black Siren and Felicity don't have much of a great bond with each other. And we even got some cool drops in terms of on how on earth to Felicity is like a really, she's full of herself, and, she runs an empire and everything like that. And some other things like how Black Siren became dark after she lost her Ollie and whatnot. Either way, in this episode, as far as the Longbow Hunters, Silencer was the closest thing we got to that. No Diaz or anything like that, but this is kind of like a little plot set up so they can follow and find Diaz's location, and the next episode might be an explosive one in terms of that, because of course the silencer got away and Felicity was, after Black Siren's advice, playing the long game. So she put I believe a tracking chip in the silencer's sonic manipulator, and typically she got away with it, and she's gonna lead them straight to Diaz. But I'm suspecting maybe like a double trap. Maybe they know that's going to be the case, and maybe Diaz and the Longbow Hunters are just going to be like, well, maybe we can trap them in thinking that they've trapped us, and we can get rid of their pesky freaking interference for once and for all. But regardless, in terms of all of this stuff, really looking forward to seeing more Black Siren redemption. This was definitely a nice dose of that, and we've only got more to come. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how much more of, considering we're only like, 4 episodes in, more like our Laurel she's going to become throughout the season. Now let's talk briefly about the beginning parts of the flash forwards, and I'll talk about the end part towards the end of this review and breakdown. It was really cool seeing Roy and William in Star City. We even saw like some graffiti in the background, with Deathstroke symbol crossed out, and I believe that was like a canary, or like, a bird representing the canary sprayed there, and I think we all know why from the end of the episode. Basically, they're keeping watch after, the future of Star City being such a shite hole now. Now, the flash forward scenes never really failed to disappoint, because with each scene, they always give the audience something to look forward to for the next one coming in the episode, or, let alone the episode after that. And, consistently throughout this episode, first of all, it was this female archer, or like somebody in an archer suit, only for it to be revealed to be Dinah, which was really, really awesome. She was like, you shouldn't have come back here, Roy. So I really can't wait to find out what the heck happened between Roy, and as to why he went to Lian Yu, because there is some real beef going on there. Unfortunately, Dinah seems to have lost, or possibly lost, her sonic cry. I think that's very evident from that little scar she has on her throat. But Dinah essentially explained that Star City fell when the Glades rose. They actually built a wall and they closed their borders. The SCPD, if anything, have fallen, and they're just hired guns and they're protecting the Glades. And it's the Vigilantes of Star City that are the justice for anything outside the glades. Now, going back to present day in terms of Dinah and Renee, it was quite interesting in how when they were talking to the community are actually viewing like how nothing's getting done now. The vigilante ban is, you know, full in force, and they're just like, shit got done when vigilantes were actually on the streets. Now, essentially in this episode, in terms of Dinah and Renee, they were dealing with arsonists. In fact, that community center where they were talking about, you know, the whole vigilante situation and yes, CPD response time not being great, actually got attacked by the arsonist, and the copycat green archer saved Zoe, which, you know, I can't wait to start talking about Zoe at the end. In terms of the Dinah story, I was really like, oh, I don't want to find Dinah annoying this season. I haven't actually found her annoying up until now, even though it did get reversed by the end of the episode, but I was just like, oh man, F Dinah, when she was just, you know, when she apprehended Renee for talking to the copycat green arrow, and, you know, the green arrow got away, but she arrested goddamn Renee. It was just so stupid, and I was just like, screw you. Now, immediately going back on that though, I do love how when Diggle came in, they were talking about how she's under pressure and obviously doesn't want to like violate the immunity deal. Diggle pointed out how, you know, Papa Lance, the legendary Papa Lance, did everything by the book, like what Dinah is now trying to do, keep everything in order still, but he still accepted help from vigilantes like the Copycat Green Arrows. Intel this episode really helped them find out with who the arsonists were. So that definitely provided Dinah's character a very quick U-turn in this episode, hopefully to prevent, you know, the fan base from being like, screw you, Dinah, for no really good reason, but because I really like Dinah's character and I didn't want to be like, oh man, are they just going to write her like this for a long time before they finally get back into vigilante suits? But no, the Arsonist Attack once again, and, you know, after the Copycat Green Arrow Archer saved the day by sprinkling some water over the fire and allowing, you know, them to get out. She let the Copycat Green Archer go, literally just before the cops turned up, and, you know, that's quite cool. Definitely springboards the Team Arrow's direction into getting back into vigilantism quite a lot, because Dinah was the main kind of block against that. But now, hopefully they might bend the rules a little bit in terms of that immunity deal and maybe help out a little bit more, just like what we've seen Wild Dog actually do already when he helped out in episode 1, if I remember correctly. Now let's go back to that flash forward, guys. So William actually cracked some Felicity little code there and got a Rubik's Cube from some kind of little safe. Now I believe this Rubik's Cube, if I remember correctly, shows secret entrances into and out of the glades. So it's going to be really cool to see this current future flash forward scenes team go in there and actually hopefully save the modern day Star City. But this will be with the addition of Zoe Ramirez, which is Wild Dog's daughter in the future. So this definitely perfectly aligns up with that scene in the modern day, present day episode of Dinah giving her that Canary badge, because Zoe pops up into the scene, takes her freaking mask off, even though there's pretty much eyeliner on before that, but we ignore those things. And there she is, and she looks pretty badass, and she's essentially like a new Black Canary. She did mention her father when asked about it by William or Roy, in terms of how she said, my father wouldn't be caught dead inside Star City. She did have this kind of 1,000-yard stare when she said that. So I'm wondering what the heck happened there. I don't think he's dead, because she would have just said he's dead. But this team is going to be really cool, guys. I can't wait to see them both in action here. Going into the glades, I think that must be in the next flash forward scene. But the biggest kind of moment we got here that William learned, and Roy learned as well, because Dinah revealed, and she was very sorry to be the one to say it, that Felicity Smoak is dead. Now, what the heck could have happened to Felicity Smoak? I have no idea. I suppose this was a surprise in a way, but it didn't blow me back. I guess I'm expecting some secret, top secret way of her to actually still somehow be alive, or like alive somewhere. Then again, I'm not definitively saying that at all. She probably is dead. Maybe Felicity Smoak really did die in the downfall of Star City and like the rise of the glades. But either way, guys, I would love to know what you think happened to Felicity, and are you as excited as I am for the vigilante resistance, as they put it, to fight against the glades with these secret routes and map plans revealed. I'm hoping to see some more vigilante resistance characters as well, and who do you think that those members could be? Either way, guys, another good episode from Arrow. I'm really pleasantly surprised with how this season is going already. Sure, there's like some episodes not as amazing, like top tier, consistent all the time, but those episodes were still good. And the other ones are just really good. So as I say every week, I just hope they keep this momentum up. When there are scenes or episodes, with the flash forward scenes in it and stuff like that, it only makes it more intriguing. So it's going to be interesting to see if we get any flash forward scenes next episode as well. Maybe not, because we didn't get them last episode. We're going to have to wait and see there. But aside from that, guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like on it, as it really does only take a second of your time. And it really helps out the video. Subscribe if you're brand new to this channel for more Arrow videos just like this. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day. I'll see you Vigilantes in the next video. Goodbye.